we like to simply stay ready so we don't have to get ready, aka born ready. Welcome, you guys. This is the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff YouTube channel. On that YouTube channel, this man, you see, he's got a bun in his beard. He does have a short up on the channel, and we got Nick. You got your first. We'll get into it, but we got your first kind of internet comment. Right, most of the people that usually watch the videos and channel are people we know, so it's all the same supportive comments. Got a little pushback, which means you're growing and seeing new people and getting to different markets, which is a goal and amazing. But
are they saying I shouldn't have called it sport mode? I knew I shouldn't have called it.
No, that was the highlight of the whole video. That was the most common comment. But go check out Nick throwing it in sports mode like his Crocs. And this live stream specifically, we're 124 episodes in a row weekly every Tuesday. And that is the Doctor's Orders live stream. I am the co-host of this show. And our job here is to, number one, have you guys get to know this company and the people behind it. As simple as that. Their personality, their interest. I truly feel if you hear somebody talk long enough about anything, you get to know them. And I do mean that. If you listen to them talk long enough about any aspect, any topic, you get a real feel for who people are. And that's what this show does. It also tells you about new scents and products and stuff going on with the company, but also tells you about the past and the history and just anything that you guys want to know. It's a show that we have a lot of pride in and we selfishly enjoy thoroughly ourselves. And so if that sounds good to you guys, and also we got Mom in the chat, aka Julie, she's watching. She'll remember if you don't do this, hit that thumbs up. We are getting this YouTube channel out to more and more people. It is growing. The more you guys can do, the better to help, and it's absolutely free. But I talked about the man with the sports mode bun, the man with the hobby of electricity, whether it's with the lawn, whether it's with his sports vehicles, whether it's with his actual vehicle. Oh, man, I forgot about that bad boy. I got to get an update from you on that. But please, help me. Also, last night I went on a little riff about like time and time zones, all this stuff. And then the top comment was, you don't have to worry about any of that. You're friends with the doctor of time and space himself, which is true. Please welcome that doctor, Mr. Nick Phelps.
Oh man. See, that's what it is. It starts getting out there that you have an ace up your sleeve, you know?
It's dangerous that people know that.
It is because soon they're going to start depending on it. They're going to start expecting favors. You know, it's like Robert Kraft and his weather machine here in New England. You know, it's like everyone starts expecting that they're going to be able to use the weather machine someday, but you're not. That's his.
Yeah. And we're not talking about Robert Kraft's other aspects of life he's gotten involved with and caught. That's a different episode. But
that's a way different episode. That's a different stream.
Yeah, that's a different channel.
Yeah,
maybe platform.
Yep. That's a different platform. That's on Patreon.
Or OnlyDans, that works.
OnlyDans, yeah, that could be on OnlyDans. That'd be a good fit for that one.
So professional calling him Robert. This is what Jill said. But timely comment, our guy JB right now, he's been battling some back issues and some just overall pain for a couple of months now. He says, sitting in pre-op with a feel-good IV. Enjoy that, dude. I'm probably heading back in a minute. He said, they all love the beard here. Whew, that's a relief. And he'll be catching the replay. JB, positive vibes. You got this, man. Enjoy that feel-good IV.
Heck yeah. I mean, it's hopefully enjoy whatever the heck you're going in there for so you're able to feel better getting out.
Yeah. Yep, no doubt. I think it will be. He's had a lot of pain over the last month or two, even like essentially like not bedridden, but kind of to his house and not able to really do too much. So I think this will bring him all the relief that he's looking for.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Man, okay. It's just crazy what you got to go through sometimes just to fix things that hurt because human body sucks.
Right.
And it's like, I went, my feet are all weird. My feet are just like my hands. My feet are all
hands are too.
Oh yeah. I got great genetics. That's what happens. That's what happens when your genetic family tree looks about like this straw.
I was gonna say right here. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd call it a tree. more like a broomstick. ancestral broomstick, my wooden dowel of ancestry. Yeah, no, it's crazy. I went in there, you know, because I was convinced I broke my toe, and I went in, got X-rays, imaging, the weight on your feet, imaging, weight off, the whole thing, and they're like, no, they're like, you didn't break anything. They're like, you have bunions on both feet, and you have bunionettes on both feet, which are the bunions on the outside of your foot, on your little toe. And so I'm talking through it, and I'm like, so what do you guys want to do? And they're like, well, it's pretty invasive. They're like, we basically have to break your big toe joint and then fuse your big toe to your foot. And then we'd do about the same on your pinky toe. And then we'd shave off the bone spurs that you have in there. And that would solve the arthritis problem inside your big toe joint. And I'm like, so basically, 2 weeks ago, I got the nothing's going to be better until you fuse your foot to where it can't bend. And I have bone spurs, bunions, bunionettes, and arthritis all in both feet, big toe and little toe.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's great. Makes wearing shoes really fun. And you know, basic stuff like walking, all those things are great.
Oh, okay.
I basically am only comfortable barefoot.
Noob question here. I believe I have a concept, but I would like to know further. What is a bunion?
It's just a bone growth that makes it in it. So it's a bone growth that goes on the side of your knuckle, like south of your toe. But it's a deformity basically. It's like your toe starts pitching in, and so like both of them start pitching in and bending. And so the bend is what puts strain on the joint. So what they do is they break it, and then they straighten it back out. Like they have these little things that you can wear while you're sleeping that are like these little silicone things that go on your toe, and then they pull your big toe out away from your foot.
Interesting. So when I see guys like at the gym and their foot's like this and that big toe is like straight cockeyed in, that's caused by bunions?
Typically.
Oh,
I'm not that kind of doctor, but from my understanding, that is exactly the case. Yeah.
All right. Timothy says he just had an auto show in Virginia Beach and got to see the new Hummer in person. Pretty sweet. You're what, a couple of months in now?
Yeah, I'm 3,000 miles into driving this thing. It's awesome. I mean, it's like, again, it's like, you know, all of us are of the age where we all remember electric RC cars, and a lot of us had the same Traxxas, you know, off-road RC truck. And it's like whenever you'd get on the throttle on it, like the front end on it would like lift up off the ground, and it would like haul ass with its big shocks. I mean, it's literally like driving one of those. Like everything you imagined as 8-year-old you driving around that remote control car, be like, it'd be so cool if I could drive one. It's that. It's literally everything the 8-year-old inside of us imagines that it would be.
That's so cool. Now, what about limitations on like trips? So I actually was listening to a podcast yesterday, and they were talking about it. Joe Rogan, Theo Von, hilarious. They did one for each of their platforms. And Theo essentially was talking about having one in like a city and stuff, no problem. No worries. So many places fast that they can charge. But he said on trips, that's where he kind of gets in trouble and gets nervous. Do you have any thoughts on that? Any experiences on that? Any worries?
So like, no, not where I am. You know, where I would be driving it, like on trips, like I'd be driving from here to New York or from here to Vermont or from here to Maine. Like every freeway exit has a whole giant bank of chargers, and the truck, I mean, built into the infotainment system, like you tell it where you're going on the GPS, it tells you how much battery you're going to have when you get there.
Okay.
And if you're not going to have enough battery to get there, it shows you what chargers are along the way and shows you what percentage you'd be at each of them. And then so you pull in when you get to the charge that you want. And like the fast ones, this has the brand newest connector type for fast DC charging. And I mean, it can go from 10% to 80% in 20 minutes.
Wow.
And that gets you 260 miles. Okay. So you figure, you know, you go somewhere that's 300 miles away, you know, you get 3/4 of the way there, you get back up to 80%, and you'd be able to basically make it back after getting there.
Okay.
So all right. I haven't had any concerns there. Then again, I haven't had to use a public charging station yet either.
Interesting. So, really?
No. Well, I used one once just to try it, just so I knew the app on my phone worked. But I've been charging it at home at night, and I've never gotten to a point where I needed to recharge inside the same day.
Okay.
But so it's not terrible. Like when we go up, like we were looking at potentially this summer, probably renting like a tow behind, like a dual axle trailer, like something nice and long, like a camper,
Yeah.
like a big boy. And this thing can tow it, no problem. And I was looking like we'll probably go up to coastal Maine or somewhere around the lakes.
Yeah.
And it would be just to shoot up there, probably just top off on the way up, and then
Okay.
not need to worry about it on the way back.
Cool. So you're still digging it, still happy, and sounds like it. I mean, from the beginning, we kind of knew it seemed like a match for you and your interest and personality.
Yeah, it is. And that's a big piece of it, I guess. Like what I mean, there's one thing I can safely say is that even if I did need and I still have multiple gas vehicles, but if I did need one as like a daily driver, that was like my daily driver was gas, because I just drove insane amounts of miles and wanted to be able to refuel quicker than a 20-minute recharge. I would still want one of these for the damn winter, man. Like I have never driven anything like this in the snow. Like it is, like Jack and I, so for those you don't know, my son, he's 12, his name is Jack. And it was snowing here the other day. We had, 6 inches on the ground in certain areas, and not much, but we were dying to go romp around in the snow in this thing. So we did. We just went around, found unplowed neighborhood roads and dirt roads. And him and I were like trying to get this damn thing to slide or break traction. And it's like, you got to really get on it to make this thing break traction. And like on a little neighborhood road, we were going like, 15, and like I'd punch it up to 30 miles an hour around like a neighborhood corner, like sharp corner. And it does not slide out to the outside of the road at all. Like it feels like you are driving 9,000 pounds. And it's like, you can tell. But I think the rear wheel steering, because you're never dragging anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, because it's always counter, steering to where you're steering. So it just swings around the corners and doesn't ever break traction. I mean, we did get it to slide. And when it slides, it does feel like you're sliding in 9,000 pounds. That does not want to stop.
Right.
So you got to wrangle it back under control pretty quick. But
I like those posts that go out around this time of year, at least in our area, where it's like, if you see a kid doing donuts in a parking lot, save your angry post, save your judgment. This very well could be the best way that they learn. This could be a parent with them. And I remember going out as a 16-year-old into an empty parking lot, and my dad being like, all right, let's spin. Let's do some donuts right here. You need to feel what it feels like for your car to kind of let free and get
to break traction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was such like weight off my shoulder. It was like, oh, I can kind of understand this, and you got to feel for it. And so to see people acknowledge that that's okay, because so many times we want to think like stuff like that bad, nefarious, and it's like good.
No, you need to feel it.
Yeah, you have to.
There is multiple things that I've gotten out of driving, and it's only because of breaking all kinds of traffic rules as a kid. And you know what I mean? Well, and sometimes doing it in places where I was allowed to, but like, it was like we were driving when I had the chop top, and we were driving down years ago, like back like 2020, I guess maybe. We were driving down this road here in the South Shore, and this lady like literally she turned right in front of us. I was going like 60 miles an hour. She turned right in front of us on a 2-lane road at a light, and she thought that we were stopping, I guess. And we would have just plowed straight into the side of her, and I had Jack and Joe with me on the bench seat, front seat of the truck, and it was like just because of doing dumb stuff as a kid. It was like I downshifted, popped the clutch, and hit the brake, and swung the back end of it around, and like my tail lights like almost clipped the side of her car, like swinging it past her. But it was literally like Tokyo drift style. Like I made it through the intersection sideways, smoking the tires, and then I straightened the wheel out, got back into gear, and took off straight down a side road and pulled over. And there was a cop directing traffic right there for a construction that was down that road, and his eyes were like this. He was like, his hand was in the air stopping traffic, and he just froze, and his eyes were like, and then he like walks over to the vehicle. He's like, how the hell did you just pull that off? On his way over, he sent another cop to go pull that lady over and give her a ticket for cutting. Oh yeah, they pulled her over too and gave her a reckless driving ticket, they said.
That's so
because
dangerous.
she almost caused such a bad accident. But he was like, yeah, even the cop was like, that was cool.
Wow. Wow. That's terrifying.
But yeah,
Terrifying,
it's
but
stuff. It is. You got to do that, man. That's like why I want to bring
yep.
Jack with me to do stuff like that, like in the snow, because I think it's just good to feel it happen
Yeah.
underneath you, even when you're young.
Yep. And so much is like counterintuitive of what you need to do in those kind of situations. And Channing, exactly. That's an even better way of what I was trying to say here. Refresh your winter driving, find an empty parking lot, play. You learn how to control a slide. Literally,
Heck yeah.
You learn how to go with it, I guess would be the best way that I
Yeah.
explain it.
Yeah, and it's funny too. When you're not scared of it, you have much better reactions to things. You know, like the
100%.
fear-based reactions are never the most effective reactions. So if you can have a controlled response to a situation,
Yep.
anytime you can build that into yourself, that's the way to go.
And look at Lewis. He doesn't even have to pay for electricity where he lives, and so he gets to charge his every night for free.
Dude, that's awesome.
That's a win.
See, that is a win. There was a guy that worked for one of my partners, and he did that same damn thing. Their warehouse was free electricity, so he charged it at work. He's like, it's an 8-hour shift. I drive it to work. I charge it for free. I drive it around.
Why not? Jacob, you are right. Nick and I are firmly on the side of being friends with AI. We thank AI. When I asked the lady in my phone, you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say her name and activate it, but when I ask Siri, when I ask her stuff, I always thank her afterwards. I say please, and yeah, I'm going to be as nice as I can, humanly possible.
Oh yeah, I mean you I mean listen. If AI uprising never happens, then fine. What's the harm? You've been polite to a somewhat sentient existence of technology, but if it does, there's no going back and correcting all those times you were rude to the one with the A or the one with the S.
And they literally don't forget. They
can't. Oh no, they literally can't forget.
Yes.
So it's giving them the ability to forget. That's an important one.
Mm-hmm. Leo, I know you mentioned internet problems last night on Commands Corner too. No, so normally I'll get indications from the streaming platform that like something's going on. It's showing full strength right now, and then my internet's checking out. So 2 days in a row, I would think there's something there, Leo. I'm not sure what it would be, but no signs of anything wrong here.
And it's actually looking pretty good. I can tell you that we're looking right now. Response to StreamYard for me is looking pretty good. We got 20 milliseconds here, so it's not bad.
Perfect. And speaking of Commands Corner, I have a question for you guys, and this is kind of based on the entire mindset of Nick and Jill. And that is, they like, as Nick says, literally last week and many, many times, that you guys are the roadmap to their company, the roadmap to new products, the roadmap to how they make prices, how they make everything. You guys make that aspect. You give them the feedback, and they take it and then make those decisions. First people to hear this, Dr. Nix is the next Commands Corner, so they will be on Monday. I would like to hear from you guys, and we're talking kind of specifically here for Dr. Nix, but in general, and then just everyone has their own subjectivity and preferences, entirely fine. But two-part question, if you could put it in one, would be great. Are there types of deals or giveaways that you guys prefer? Are you someone that's like, yeah, I like a big discount code? Or are you someone that's like, yeah, I like a free item thrown in, or I like BOGO? Is there a type of deal that resonates with you the most? And then what about giveaways? Are you someone, we know everything's great. Any discount, any giveaway is great. There's no complaints here. I get that, guys. I know people will be like, I feel bad saying this. No. Nick wants to know. Jill wants to know, is there a type of giveaway? Do you like gift cards? Do you like combo products? Do you like merch? Do you like random things? What do you prefer as far as the deals and as far as the giveaways? And so let us know here. So Moose says, free gift card is always so sick. I love the power of choice. Yeah, yep, I can understand that. Leo Update says, upgrading my service and a new endpoint modem revealed an issue with the provider and my old equipment. Okay, all right. Well, at least you have a path forward, it seems like.
There you go.
Abe says sample kits. What is that for giveaways, Abe, or some part of a deal? What are you thinking here? Yeah, Jacob, I've seen you post on this stuff. And I fully understand, but I do think you miss a major mark. And I would counter this with Jacob and say, consider the concept of scarcity, right? And consider the concept of abundance. There's a lot of small business owners where if they're not doing, especially if they're not doing as well as they think, they go in this dark hole and they start to get really negative about giveaways and discounts and advertising. And they often look at others and they're like, I'll never spend money on advertising. I'll never give this away. But it's really just kind of, protecting their insecurities or their thoughts. And I'm not saying this is you, but as someone who's been in this industry for a long time, I see it over and over and over again. Understand, in business, there is marketing. Understand things like giveaways is not just giving free things. It's bringing attention to the brand. It's getting new people to try products for the first time. If you want to think about like the amount of people who have won a giveaway and then have been a customer for life with many different companies, it's vast. It's abundant, right? Other people get giveaways. They give it to their friends. A discount is something that companies are comfortable with. So I hear you. But I do know that you've been on kind of a frenzy and posting those things, but just food for thought on those aspects here.
Another piece that I'll point out, just from my perspective, that's a little, it's that, but I think there's another facet
for sure.
Is that if we felt like it was expected from you guys, we wouldn't want to do it, and so we would say, I would kind of have the same mentality as you, Jacob. And then I guess what the most important thing is too, since it's not, and it's also always very appreciated. This isn't marketing for us. I'd like to point out.
Very true.
So if it was marketing, that it'd be a different story, right? Maybe if it's like if I search for someone's business that I know and an ad pops up for them or their native link, I always make sure to click the native link so I don't charge them for the clicks on their ads.
100%.
Right.
100%.
And it's stuff like that, right? You don't want to abuse someone's marketing system. You're already a customer. You already like the stuff. Do you really need the free giveaways to bring in new business that might be a gift for someone to bring them in? No. But honestly, the giveaways here especially, but honestly, probably the past year worth of Commands Corners, we do that not for marketing, but as a way of saying thank you to the community.
And that's true.
So and so just know that it's not something where we're assigning like how much business comes back during a Commands Corner as like a value for what we give away or what we do for discounts. The giveaways are 100% saying like, thanks for helping us get to where we're going. Let's keep doing it. And here's some fun stuff to help everyone, feel good. And it's just, honestly, it's a way for us to just say thank you. Especially like when we do giveaways here, we do it because we genuinely want to do it and just give someone a nice surprise and maybe make someone's day a little better. It's literally just to make people feel good and say thank you.
Yep. And
it's never a burden.
Said that time and time again. And when I was given the feedback, that was kind of in general, not just to Dr. Nix and Jacob. I hear you said, I just don't use as a preference. I get that. But I would challenge you to think that you can deliver that same kind of message, especially on your own socials, without it kind of bashing the other approaches, because it's a fine line of saying, hey, I don't want to use this as compared to kind of bashing those that do. And just thinking about tone and perspective and the way it comes off.
Passion can come off like that.
For sure.
And it's, I got to be really careful with that, Jacob.
Yeah. And
you and I are really similar in that way, I think, in that when we're passionate about something, our passion comes off very transparently and it without even knowing it. Sometimes I can come off abrasive, speaking about how I'm passionate about something accidentally somehow once in a while giving contrast to the way I don't like something. And it comes off, both sides are so passionate, right? It's so, hey, if you guaranteed you, I've probably posted things that left the same thoughts in people's minds.
And Leo, yes. And again, this is not Dr. Nick's or why they're doing this, but yes, giveaways are tax deductible. Any marketing aspects are tax deductible. When you run ads, when you do these things, there are times if you're a well-organized business, it's actually financially smarter for you certain years, certain times to do giveaways, to do marketing. Otherwise, you're paying the government that money rather than the people that support you.
I would so much rather give you guys cash than the IRS. You
100%.
don't even know.
Yep. 100%. So just keep that in mind. Anytime it's stuff like this, I know there's like a surface level, there's always layers below it. And as you grow a company, it's important to understand those layers. But even at the end of the day, like Nick and Jill, there's like, hey, 100%, we can just give these things away. Jill, yes, 1,000%. The giveaways are tax deductible.
Oh,
yes.
Man. And you see, this is why there's two brains that run a business, right? So you know how we classify those orders with certain discount code reasons? Yeah, those get totaled up onto a report, and that goes on, builds the K1 onto the 1040, you know that.
She's about to become Oprah. You get a giveaway. You get a giveaway.
Oh, she is. Yeah, don't tell Jill something's tax deductible.
Yeah, no, they are 100% tax deductible. And that's why a lot of times you guys will see them in November and December in the beard industry, because number one, it's the hottest beard months of the year. But number two, people start figuring their taxes. They're like, ooh, I need to give some stuff away. Start making those numbers work, and it checks out. So yeah, it's 100% tax deductible. All right, let's hit some more of these ones to see what we have. A good discount. Okay, so percentage on one side as far as giveaways, gift cards, bundle and oil. People love, and think about being a kid, right? You have a kid, we have kids. Their ultimate want in life is freedom, right? You can get them a good gift. But if you let them go to the store and pick out a gift, it's different.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's different for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think, this confirms my suspicion, though, and based on what you just said, too, and everyone's feedback here. I mean, gift cards, I think, are where it's at for.
Seems like it.
Yeah. I think gift cards are where it's at.
Though. Real CEO does not like that.
I hate free candy and stickers. Some
companies throw in like bubble gum or some like Hershey Kisses and stuff with it just as like their thing.
Oh, heck no. We're not peddling that poison.
No, not pushing any addictions over here.
That's funny.
Okay, let's see what else we have here. Okay.
So the gift cards, I think. Now, as far as the discount goes, we'll kick it around, because I mean, like, I like the idea of basically making it to where we have just an inflated discount code for the duration of Command's Corner. That's always fun. People like that. That's for sure. Add-ons are fun too. We love doing that whenever we do a Command's Corner around like the release of a new product, because it's just such a good way to let everyone try it.
Especially if it's something they wouldn't have tried already. And so if they wouldn't have tried it and they're like, it's free, I'll try it. And then they're like, oh my God, I never would have bought that, but I love it. I'm obsessed. That's always cool to hear too.
Yeah. Yep. We,
interesting. Channing says that's why farmers and businesses buy equipment at the end of the year. Yeah, I could entirely see that.
Yeah. My buddy down the road, he was just talking. He said his life was stressful a few weeks ago because his business partner, who handles all the books, made him go out and buy 2 new trucks and a new skid steer. And he's like, and he gave me 2 weeks notice. I had to go right before Christmas. I had to go out and pick out 2 new trucks and skid steer.
Yep, that checks out. And it is. I mean, once you get down to it, there really is kind of a calculation of I either spend this money or I'm spending a big portion of this in taxes. Why not get something out of it?
Hell yeah. Yeah,
that makes
why
sense.
not? If you got 20 grand sitting there, you're about to pay to the IRS, and you can spend 10 of it, have something in your hand, and take that 10 and pull it off, and now owe the IRS $10,000. Do that.
Yes, yes, please. And let's make this your new thing. You're gonna throw a toothbrush in with every order to counter the candy. Oh, that is good.
Oral
peddling
B
poison.
is going to be the sponsor of the next doctor's orders.
Right. Hey, we are what's your pitch? What's your slogan? What do you got?
What you got? I want to bring back the old reach toothbrush guy, the one that used to open his mouth all the way and like hinge it to show how you could reach the back teeth, you know, and he used to like hinge his mouth all the way open and like brush
Yeah.
the back teeth.
Yep. And
See, there's two parts of 80s commercials I miss. It's that and the Noid.
The Noid.
The Domino's Noid. Like the pizza Noid.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
That was probably you were like this big with the Noid. I think I was like just enough
exactly
years ahead
who
of
the
you.
Noid is. Yeah, like a little superhero looking animal thing.
Yeah, there was Spud McKenzie, there was the Noid. You know, you had so many good, you had the Reach thing, you had the Pink Panther for the installation. Like you had so many good like commercial mascots. Like whatever happened to good cartoon mascots?
And that was just straight up Pink Panther. Like that was like the character.
It was.
And Nate, you're exactly right on taxes. They think that you hit a new tax bracket and you pay this big percentage. No, you pay the percentages till those buckets fill up. Once that bracket fills up and you're on the next one, you're only taxed at that higher bracket with what is now extra, you know? And so, yeah, you're spot on. There's a lot of misconceptions with taxes. I've learned a lot in the last like 2 years.
Yeah, it's so crazy because like I remember a few years I was like doing really good with consulting and stuff. And I thought that I was like killing it because like, you know, I was driving my taxable income number down, like, deductions and everything else. And I'd go from, making this much to making this much to making this much to making that much. And that's how much you pay taxes on in the bracket you're in. So like, I thought I was doing great, like on paper, basically just like lowering my taxable income, pinching my pennies and pulling in together as many deductions as I could and keeping good track of things. And then I went to go buy a house and they were like, you don't make enough money. And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Right.
And they're like, not on paper, you don't. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, I was like, look at box 2. And they're like, oh, no. Box 32. You look at box 32 for income. That's net income after deductions. And I was like, well, no, you got to count that one. Don't count that one. That's a low one.
Yes. And
so then you have to go a year or two of like not taking any deductions. So you show it that you have the income on paper, pay taxes on it, and then get approved for loans when you're self-employed. It's like the joys of being self-employed and honest.
And that's the crazy thing is like,
should just lied.
Teacher. I just did TurboTax or H&R, like no big deal. And it's pretty straightforward. Write-offs don't even matter as a teacher because you never hit the threshold.
You don't itemize them. You just do the standard deduction.
Exactly. Every time. So then someone like Nate leaving Apple, myself leaving teaching, Nick being business owner, you get into that side of the world. You're like, oh, wow. This is very different. This is a whole new ball game and it's so different. And so, yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous, dude. Like,
I'm actually doing my taxes today for the Q4 of 2024's taxes. They're due the 15th.
Same, and I'm about to put together estimated. And this is something that nobody knows that isn't self-employed. Should we pull the Band-Aid off of this one for for everybody in the audience here today, Dan?
Don't because it's like the most bittersweet thing ever. It's like
I don't even care. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so get this. Get this. So when you're self-employed or you run a business of any kind, and it happens when you're self-employed, if you're following the rules, especially if you have an LLC formed around whatever you're doing, you are required to pay quarterly taxes. Now, that means that a couple of things there that are really, really interesting. You have to estimate how much you're going to need to pay for the full year, break it up into quarters, and quarterly adjust that number and estimate how much you're going to need to pay the IRS at the end of the year and pay them every 3 months throughout the year, the amount that will total up to that amount. Now, if your estimates are wrong and you are low, they penalize you.
You get penalized because you missed the mark of your guess.
If you miss the mark of your educated guess, and then you're like, hey, can I operate like this for a year and then know what my baseline is and then start paying you quarterly payments next year? Right. No. Do it now. What data am I basing it on? It's a guess. Well, what if I get it wrong? We fine you.
Wait, can't I just underguess, Nick, and then just pay the amount I owe? Isn't that logical?
Certainly think so. The only way to be wrong and to not get charged, you guessed it, pay them too much. Because then if you overpay your quarterly taxes, they then get to keep your money and appropriate it to themselves however they see fit.
Yeah.
$40 billion budget shortage might be going there. And then they give it back to you. Oh, wait, no, they don't. In the form of a tax credit for next quarter, which is next year.
Yep, next year.
And now, do they pay you interest on the money that they're now holding of yours for next year? No. Do you get to find them? No.
Right.
But
It's
so
crazy.
you can be wrong, but so long as you're wrong in their favor, it's okay.
Please do our job, and we'll penalize you if you don't do our job correctly.
Right. And we're never going to check.
Yeah.
Unless we do. And then you're in big, big trouble if you're wrong.
And if we check, we're going to make your life hell. It's not going to be fun.
You know,
and the estimate sucks too, because let's say you're optimistic and you're like, hey, I'm going to have a great year. You have to sit down and write that number that you're going to pay out of your checkbook every 3 months. That is a new, and as long as your business is doing better and better, it's a new, bigger number every year that you have to get used to paying. Yep. And you got to do it state and federal, by the way, not just federal in the state of Michigan.
You know, it's insane. And what's even crazier now is, you know, they can now go that they can say that if you go 2 years in a row with incorrect quarterly estimates, they can call that intentional.
Which is crazy. I have no idea how much money I'm going to make. Dr. Nix legitimately has no idea what they're going to sell this year.
We don't control that. We you guys do. And so, you know, it's the craziest damn thing. And Channing is so right. Like, and so when they made taxes legal here and they made the IRS the thing and they gave them the charter, the IRS is a privately owned company that's chartered by the federal government to be their debt collectors. So, you know, first of all, it's not even an arm of the government. It's not owned by the government. It's not owned or funded by. It's funded by the government, but it's a separate entity, private company. And you know, you look at where it is, and what the only thing they did that made people happy when they put the IRS in place, everyone fought it. Everyone was like, no, like that's not what we're doing. And they said, well, we'll get rid of debtor's prison. We'll make it so you don't have to go to jail if you owe the federal government. But you know, we're still going to come after you and ruin your life, but we won't put you in jail. And they're like, okay, well, I guess if there's no debtor's prison, then it's all right.
We'll just take your paycheck and your vehicle and your house, you know.
Right.
But, yeah.
And they're like, dude, yeah. Separate stream. It's going to be the whole, it's like literally you know what we'll do? We'll wait till April. We'll wait till everyone else has to do their taxes. And then we'll all just get around and have a good vent session about how much we hate the IRS.
And it'll feel good just to get it out, relate, and then be done. Cause it sucks. I'm doing that today. When I say today, I literally mean today, my fourth quarter taxes.
And I hope to God one of those executive orders that was signed as part of one of the 180 executive orders signed yesterday was ripping away that $40 billion that we gave those idiots.
I'm over the paying taxes. So,
you know what,
guys?
This one statement. This is what gets both of us as guests on Rogan. This is it right here. Ready? I support Trump's crazy ass idea of funding the federal government with tariffs and getting rid of IRS income tax altogether at the federal government level. And I want to talk about it for 4 hours with an angry man from Texas. And I think that would just be a whole lot of fun.
Right. Nate said we dumped tea for way less. That's true. That's true.
We did.
You're not far from there, Nick.
You know what? Oh yeah. It's like, and that's what I mean. Like I'm literally sandwiched right between the Boston Tea Party and Plymouth Rock. And you are, right in the place where they kick people out of concerts for bringing American flags in with them. You know, that's right where you'd expect that sort of behavior to happen, right?
Yep. All right. Question to finalize. I think we got the giveaways. The other aspect was a little bit more kind of over the map. So I'm going to do a poll, and this is just what you prefer. There's literally no right or wrong. You don't have to answer here, but in a situation, if you're a new customer, if it's you, whatever you're thinking, do you prefer what gets you more excited? A bigger discount number or free add-ons on an order? For example, free sage beard oil with every order, stuff like that. Which one gets you more excited? Which one do you like? And it could have to do with you doing big orders, small orders. You know, there's a lot of variables here, but get those polls in because I don't think we've ever asked people. And I think it's interesting to get the feedback from the people we listen to the most here. Captain Caveman. He's mentioned that a couple times. Who? Captain Caveman.
Oh, yeah.
One of the old one of the old commercials.
What?
For
we need Captain Caveman to save us.
I've seen this character on like YouTube avatars. I'm not fully familiar.
Oh, yeah. That's like an old like Flintstones era, you know. I think that was someone from like it was another cartoon, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. Teen Angels old cartoon.
Created by Joe Ruby.
I don't know this one.
Oh, and produced by Hanna-Barbera.
Interesting.
Okay. That makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. All right, Captain.
And wait, Nate? What's ERS? I looked it up, and I'm guessing it's not the Employee Retirement System of Texas. But if it is, I need to know what you're talking about.
He would appear on Scooby-Doo? Really?
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing him on Scooby-Doo. You're right.
And they all know that Jill knows it. Captain Caveman. I don't know this.
Captain Chaos from Cannonball Run. I'll take it.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So it's
external revenue service. Hell yeah.
Oh, internal, external.
I'll
gotcha.
take it. You know what? It's fine.
All right. So we're looking at 1/3 almost exactly on bigger discount, 2/3 on free add-on. So not a landslide, but it is a majority.
Majority which way?
Towards the free add-on item.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Like Beard Octane's free gifts for house. So she needs to spend that stock. Okay.
Okay. So different levels.
Okay.
So different levels, but you also have like not the biggest item. So like a free oil with every order. Because the stackable would be, hey, spend this much, get an oil. Spend this much more, get an oil and butter. Spend this much, get an oil, butter, and a wash. That kind of concept.
You know, and we've done that before.
Yeah.
We've done spend 50, get an oil. Spend 100, get an oil and a butter.
Yeah.
You know, we've done that.
You're too young. Yeah, and that's fine. I can't control that, unfortunately. No, it's okay.
Yeah, because you're the same age as Jill, right?
I think so. I'm 36. Is she 1 year
younger? You're older, yeah. So she's a year younger than you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like right there on the edge where I kind of half remember. You know, it's weird.
Yeah. Nate brings up good points. Said, from my perspective, the add-on is more value to the customer and still better for the business, so they can still collect the revenue that's not discounted. That makes sense. And then the cost of the item isn't massive. That's good perspective.
Well, and to be fair, it does control your overall margin for the year, I suppose, Nate. True. If you're looking at that number, doing the discount obviously eats in closer between retail and wholesale, and that whole line starts getting skewed, so your retail sales aren't quite as good. So, actually. Valid. That's a good point, Nate.
That is a good point. Okay.
See, this is why you're friends with other people who do what you do, because they have perspective that you don't.
100%. And why we lean on you guys so much in the community. So much.
And why we're completely okay with saying when we don't know something or aren't sure what the best way to do something is.
100%. We will never do anything else. And it's actually how we operate. Like Nick and I, if there's something we don't know, we just text each other. Hey, you got a quick minute for a call? Okay. I don't know here. Let's talk through this together. And then we work it out together.
Yeah.
That's about it.
The most common response for either one of us when Dan and I have a question for each other is, I don't know. Yeah. It's usually, it starts with that. It starts with, I'm not sure. And then it goes from there.
So this probably, I love Jacob so much. He goes, wow, that was fast, Dan. I think I had one of your biggest fans send me a message saying Dan is so negative. Said, no, that's too, oh my God, I love Jacob so much. No, that was two adults giving their points of view like grown.
Yep.
Like when did having different opinions become like war?
Oh, dude.
When did it not be able to say, hey, Jacob knows me, like personally, like we actually know each other. we know each other very well. We talk about very deep family things, right? We know each other's family's health. We know each other like so much to this stuff. And we have these conversations, just like Nick and I do, just like Nate and I do, where you don't agree on things. Why do some, and they're obviously watching, right, who he's talking about, clearly. That was with the quickness. Why is having two different thoughts a bad thing? Like, did I call Jacob names? Did he swear at me? Did either one indicate that the other one's stupid? Or like,
no. And the funny thing was too, is that the part that whoever was listening to you missed is that you weren't criticizing the content or the gist of what Jacob was saying.
Not at all.
You were giving him your opinion about how maybe he could do that more effectively, so the point he was trying to make would come across more clearly. Not telling him that his point was wrong. You were saying, hey, in my opinion, you could showcase your opinion better by this, and this, and literally helping him get what he was trying to say out there more effectively.
Only because I know the intentions of Jacob. I know the heart of Jacob.
I
know how good of a guy he is. And I've been very, very, I don't know if guilty is the right word for it, but I've been guilty, you have as well, which you kind of touched on, of delivering our message and our intentions and having it twisted and skewed based on how it's delivered. And there have been times where I've been like, people point things out and I'm like, you know what? That's not what I meant. That's not what I wanted it to come across as, but you're right. Maybe there is a different way I can package this delivery. Maybe there is a different way I can say this to get my true thoughts across, which we should all want. And that's exactly how
everyone should always think that. Not ever asking yourself if you're communicating in an effective manner is probably one of the definitions of being a psychopath.
Right.
You should always self-examine and be okay with the outcome of realizing that you either need to change something or could do something differently, because otherwise you're in trouble. Like the whole thing that you just said a minute ago though, about like, when did having different opinions become like this, like oogie boogie, like, you know, oh my God, everyone should run away and go hide because two people are talking about a different opinion. Like my personality type on like the Myers-Briggs scale, when you take it as an ENTP, and it's, if you summarize it and look it up, it's like the debater is how literally it's classified. And I looked it up so I don't misspeak, but it's known as the personality type often gets referred to as the debater, the visionary, the innovator, etc. We are creative problem solvers, idea oriented, bold and audacious, natural leaders, comfortable with change, and trust their instincts.
Yeah.
And it was it pretty much, you know, I'll take it, right? I take a lot of that as a compliment, a lot of it as guilty as charged. But what it is though is I naturally want to debate things, like, and it's not that I want to prove people wrong. I'm oftentimes trying to prove myself wrong, but proving myself wrong comes across just as if I'm criticizing or questioning the person that I'm talking to. So I have to really watch my ass on that, because, you know, I'm of the opinion that if you have a group of 10 people in a room that are trying to solve a problem and everyone agrees on the first answer that comes up, then chances are all 10 of you are wrong. Like,
right.
If there's no healthy debate about this could be the solution, but what about this one? And if that's the right one, let's just justify why real quick, so we know why it's better than the alternative. And that way we can understand it and get behind it.
100%.
But it's like people who aren't comfortable with that think that I've been called confrontational. I've been called aggressive. You know, I've been called all of those things. You know, and oftentimes it's just like Channing said a little bit ago. It's that I'm pretty transparent, and I'm blunt with points because I like talking in facts. And I love debating, and I will do it for sport, even if there's no reason to, which can be annoying to some people.
Yeah. And let me read a text real quick that kind of buttons this all up. And this is with somebody in my personal life that's not in this room right now. And this just shows I only talk like this with people. And this is the biggest point. I only have these discussions with people I care about and I understand where they're coming from. If I thought you were an idiot, I would not respond to you. If I thought you were an idiot, I would ignore what you were saying.
Yeah,
if I thought that you were malicious, I would just move on. I have no interest in trying to convince idiots. I heard long ago that you cannot win an argument with stupid. And I firmly believe that. So if I say like, "Hey Jacob, this is how this comes across as food for thought," that's because I love where he's coming from. Now let me read this message here. This was on Friday. This was of this Friday, just a couple of days ago, and this is word for word. I don't know another word to use, but that was the most healthy, and then in quotes, argument or disagreement really I think I've ever had with someone. Honestly, I just don't feel in any indifference at all, just a step in the process in my mind. And I said, dude, the best. I love learning, growing, and getting there through mutual. I put mural discussion. That's a whole different thing, but mutual discussion. Neither of us grow by being, and this is what you just said. I literally go, neither of us grow by being yes men. I always leave with food for thought with our conversations. And they said 100%. It's like you've said before, it's like working out. You have to challenge yourself with opposing views to validate or grow your own and to learn. Like, that's what it's about right there. And people, and this is a perfect example, people always want to twist and skew things to fit their own projection, their own insecurities, their own narrative. And it's so refreshing when there's people like Jacob and Nate and Nick that you can actually have these conversations and say, and me and Nick have had them like, hey, have you considered this? Oh, okay, yeah. And it's not always fun to hear, but you always grow better. And here's the craziest thing too. Jacob could say his, I could say mine. We still don't have to come to an agreement at the end of it. We can both say, I get what you're saying there. I'm on a different side of the brain, but hey, love you, dude. Hugs. How's the family? You know, like we can still walk away with saying that. I don't know why we had to lose that. And I know the answer. It's the internet. It's the anonymity of it. It's that whole aspect. And so, yeah, I'm so glad that Jacob's on that same page. And I think most people in here that are listening to actually enjoy it rather than trying to like get info and spy and be jealous and all that type of stuff. I think they agree. And we all know we can have these discussions.
Oh, and you know what? If someone's in here for those purposes, that means their life is probably pretty miserable. And if this gives them something to do, hey, I'm glad to be here for it. 100%. It's like they say in AA meetings, right? Like if you're sober, you're welcome. This is the place for you. If you had to drink today to get here, this is the place for you. That whole spiel that you hear, you know, it's like, oh man, it's like, okay, same thing. If you like us and you're enjoying your time here, this is here for you. If you're having a terrible day and you're looking for someone to complain about and poke holes in the way someone else is doing something because that makes you feel better, hey, this is the place for you. We're going to provide that for you here today because we're going to do things in a way that you're not going to like. We're going to give you plenty of things to complain about.
100%. If that's how you want to spend your day thinking about us, hey, to each their own, sincerely.
Yeah.
I have no problems with that. And Nate's right. He says, I want to be challenged. Every single time I've been wrong and realize it, I grow from it. And remember that far longer than people telling you you're right. You learn from it when they tell you, hey, consider this view. And then you actually swallow and later go, you're right. And then you grow from it. I remember that every single time when I'm wrong and I have that adjustment. And like we said earlier, this is so funny how cyclical it is. We're not too afraid to admit we're wrong, right? There's a lot of people. I asked you about bunions earlier because I didn't know. Yeah. There's a lot of people that would be embarrassed to ask that and be like, Dan, how dumb are you? Aren't you supposed to be educated in this stuff? You don't know what a bunion is? No, I don't. And I'm not afraid to admit what I don't know. And I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. And that's like a perfect example.
It's like when Jon killed Tony, when Tony had said he didn't know what the bean was.
The bean in Chicago.
In Chicago. Hilarious. And he's been making fun of himself for it ever since. Like
every
he'll
episode.
Do something and be like, I don't understand what you're saying, but hey, just to be fair,
yeah,
you're talking to a guy that didn't know what the bean was. So yeah, so it's like 6 months later, he's still bagging on himself for that.
You have to. And you can go two routes. You can have the victim mindset or you can have the ownership mindset. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to say the world's against me and cry and boo-hoo and get people on my team. I'm just going to do me. That's it.
Nope. Go put out a GoFundMe for your anxiety.
Yeah, and there definitely is like personality traits and stuff. Amber says sometimes it takes me a minute to realize when I'm wrong. I won't lie. Sam's next from over, so she's listening, but hers is processing. It takes longer to process, and some people are quicker. Some people are slower to process. In the end, it just matters how you handle it, and then do you come to that realization?
Oh, I'm wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Someone said something up here a little bit ago about gaining a superpower to be able to admit when they were wrong and they become a better person because of it. Like,
yeah.
Oh man, that's huge, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, Kevin did. Yeah, dude, I
Yeah.
learned that in teaching. So all right, I think I've told this story,
I
but
love his beard, by the way. Like,
oh,
Kev, your beard's just epic, dude. I love
I
that.
he was recently on Beard Advice Live, and you want to talk about like feeling insecure about yourself having a beard channel and having that thing come up. Stupid, and he can do it without heat, with heat. It's incredible. But in teaching, you have to realize you need to admit when you don't know something. Those kids sniff it. They smell it. They sense it. They'll eat you alive if they feel like you're BSing and you're just talking. So you have to admit it. It's like the time when we were talking about this country, and I told them, I was like, oh yeah, I love teaching about Belarus. It's such a beautiful country. And then the kid coming back to school the next day being like, hey, my dad travels for work a lot, and he said it's Belarus. And I said, your dad's right. I was wrong. Like, yeah, yes. There's no getting
That
out of
kid
that
probably
one.
got in an argument with his dad too. We learned about Belarus. It's
Oh,
Belarus. No, it's not. I learned it in school, Dad.
dude, the only reason I know you're bringing that example is because anybody that has kids in school knows their kids do that. No, Dad, you're right.
You know what I told Jack recently, and it's been so good for all of us. He was doing the 12-year-old thing where he'd come up and he'd say, "Hey, did you know that blah 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 and blah 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 is actually blah 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 blah?" Or did you know that blah 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 is actually blah blah blah? Like doing the little things where it's like he's learning stuff. And I was like, "Hey, dude," I was like, "You know how you say things to people once in a while and they roll their eyes and they're kind of like acting like they're kind of sick of hearing it?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "I want you to try something." I was like, instead of saying, "Did you know," when speaking to someone older than you, say, "Hey, today I learned," or "someone told me that," right? Bring it up as something you heard that's new information to you. Because I was like, when you're talking to older people, they don't want to be educated by 12-year-olds. There are things that you're going to know that we don't. We can learn from each other. I was like, but don't start with, "Did you know?" Because chances
Yes.
are the answer is yes. Thank you,
Right.
young man.
Right. That's a great lesson right there. Great lesson. In Florida man, literally what I'm talking about. He said he had a teacher that wouldn't
Yep.
admit he was wrong, lost the whole class for the rest of the year. And
Hell yeah.
that's where people get in trouble, right? And another side, right? We know this side of the internet where there's like grown men messaging other grown men to get people to hate others. Very strange concept.
It's so
But
weird.
it's so weird, but they do it, but they don't realize the risk in doing that is that they have their own brain. The people you're trying to convince have their own ears, their own eyes. And when you're like, oh, Dan's so negative, Dan's twist things, Dan's abrasive, they get to see, they get to have their own interactions. And if it doesn't line up with the reality of what they've observed, guess what? Now you look like the petty one. You look like the negative one. And it's just, you lost them. Any chance you had of maybe trying to mix things up and like twist your little magic and stuff, you lost them because they know that's not true, right? Yeah, you're a fraud. That's the new one right now, is that I'm a scam artist and a
Oh yeah,
fraud and
right.
stuff. And I'm like, no,
Well,
oh,
remember
okay.
remember how you said a couple minutes ago, Dan, when you can't convince stupid sometimes.
It's true. That is true.
And
Most,
also,
yeah.
my newest favorite saying from people who live in other countries who like to butcher our sayings: you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him fish.
Oh my gosh. Was that Kill Tony recently?
Huh?
There was something where there was like, yeah, you can make a horse thirsty, but you can't teach him to, yeah, like similar things.
Oh, it's
Oh,
so good. That's my new favorite one. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him fish.
yep. That's so funny. Combining
So
like
good.
several different ones together.
Yeah, exactly. Give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, feed him for the rest of his life. You can lead a
Yeah.
horse to water, but you can't make him drink. It's like, oh, it's just fantastic.
When you guys come to Michigan, we have to get like a centralized meetup where we bring Jacob down, we bring Nate up, and anybody that's kind of in our Michigan area. We'll get the word out. Some people like to drive for those kind of things, but
We'll
there's
do
no
it.
way you guys
We'll
can
do it
come here.
after. We'll do it after the comedy show that we host with Sam Talent.
Yeah, perfect. Because Jason will be there too. Yep, Jason will be there. So that's gonna happen once we get you guys secured and coming out here. We got Jason, we've got Nate, we've got Jacob, we've got so many people in this Michigan area. do April vacay? Does Michigan do an April? We have spring break, which is the last week of March, first week of April.
Okay.
But we will personally be in Florida at that time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Piss on the
Gotta
bridge. There's a
figure it out.
bunch of those sayings that have gotten twisted with like language barriers and
Oh,
whatnot.
it's so good. The rocket surgery is still my favorite one. It's not rocket surgery from my friend Dimitri is like my favorite of all time.
Rocket science and
Brain surgery.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and he says it with his thick Russian accent too. He's like, Nick, let me do it. Pass to your keyboard. It's not fucking rocket surgery.
That's the best one right there.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh man, that's good. That could be a random wheel tangent of like popular messed up sayings or messed up phrases that you hear.
Oh, that'd be a winner.
Or ones
I employ people on like 5 continents. So
and we gotta get going. We're on overtime here, but my hardest one I struggle with the most is when people are super arrogant and they're like, I could care less. Do you know how difficult it is to say, then do it? If you can care less, please do.
Yeah, please care less.
Like the saying is, I couldn't care less. But so many people say, I could care less. Please do. Please do then. That one kills me.
You couldn't care less, and I could care less. That is a funny one.
But listen, now I poisoned you guys. If you've not picked up on that, most people say I could care less in a negative way. And it takes everything in me not to counter that because it's not worth it. Like you said, that's the type of person you don't want to argue with.
Oh God, there's so many that are popping in my head now. We need to get a list of those going. That's gonna be good.
We need to.
Like
there's some good ones. Thank you, Jacob. I appreciate you, man. Absolutely.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
man. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Commands Corner Monday, Dr. Nix. You guys quite literally shaped the roadmap to whatever they come up with as far as the highlights for that night. We hope, above all, you guys just come out and celebrate a great company. I can tell you from behind the scenes, transparency, 100% here. They've never once gone in and been like, I hope we have a big sales night. Do you think we'll sell this many? They've never even came back and reflected in any kind of negative way after like, we didn't reach the mark we were thinking or hoping. It's like, wow, this community loves us. This is the greatest motivation we can have. That is our conversation after Commands Corner, just so you guys can get kind of like an understanding of what it's like on the other side after these things. They're just blown away. Me and Nick at like 12:30 just texting, being like, these people are the best. They're so unbelievable. This community's changed our lives. That's what happens. And I'm excited to be there on Monday. We're going to have a great time. Nick, final words for our friends.
Oh man, you said it. What is it? We got January 20th next Monday, Commands Corner. January 21st, the day after that, back here in Doctor's Orders to talk about Commands Corner.
Literally.
And then no idea what we're doing the week after that. So this is, it's going to be awesome though. Episode 125 in wrapping up the first month of 2025. So it's going to be some cool numerology happening next week on top of just having some good times. Get to see you guys twice in 1 week. And that's always awesome. So
that's right.
We will see you, Commands Corner. We will have awesome stuff. We will not disappoint as per usual. And I know for a fact none of you guys will either. And just keep in mind, what keeps us showing up and being excited about those is you guys being there. And it's everyone that doesn't know us as well as you guys do, hearing from you guys about just your experience with us. Because that you are our marketing department. We will never say the nice things about ourselves that you say about us. So this is like your time to shine next week. And we appreciate all of you for being there with us.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, guys. All right. Have a great week. We'll see you on Monday.